Hello everybody, welcome back to Valley of the Mist Quilt Guild's Block of the Month. I'm Adriane Ritter.
And I'm Shelley McNeely.
And we're here with the March 2021 Block of the Month. So first things, I do want to remind everyone, go on to the Quilt Guild's website and get a copy of the instructions. It'll help make it a little easier for you. Right. I do want to say that this year, because we are letting everybody put the colors where they want, it does make these instructions a little bit harder to do. And because we have to refer to them just as color 1, fabric 2, fabric 3, fabric 4. And it might be a little bit confusing. But that's
because you don't have to do them the way we did them.
Right. So here is a sample block of this month's block. If you are doing the round robin, you need 2 of these. Go see those instructions for further details on that. Shelley is going to go over the fabrics, keeping in mind that we're going to try to tell you what each one's for. Yeah.
Okay. To start off, what we're using this year, like we have been the last few years, is a focus fabric, and this is a focus fabric for this one, and then a coordinating fabric because there's blue in her focus fabric, and then 2 neutrals, and she has a gray and a white. So a light and a dark, but yours don't have to be white and gray. They can be white and black or white and brown or
cream or whatever.
Right,
yeah, whatever goes with your focus fabric.
Right. Then, now you have your fabrics. This is how we're going to cut these this month. We're going to call one fabric 1.
And that's going to be used in these triangle pieces right here, and also at the end of these little strips.
Right. So we want to talk about that, how to cut that first, or?
Well, you're going to give them the size.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7-inch square. Yes.
Okay, so after you have a 7-inch square, you're going to take this and you're going to cut it along the 2 diagonals, and you're going to end up with 4 triangles, okay? I was going to demonstrate that, but we had a little technical difficulty, and so it already got cut. Anyway, when we are doing these, the reason we're picking these sizes how we do it, just so you know, is when we're cutting these triangles this way, you're going to end up with some bias edges which are a little more delicate, and you really should sew something to them pretty promptly. So our bias edges here are these inner edges, and we're going to sew something to them. This outer hypotenuse edge we won't be using while we're sewing the block. Right. And that's why we want it to be the most stable edge, that outer edge.
Right. Okay, and there's another piece from fabric 1, and that will be
it's this other part of this strip.
Right.
Okay, so in this block, it's this part here at the end.
And that's going to be 7¼ inches long. And to that, we're going to be adding a fabric 2, which is also 7¼ inches long. And the 2, when you sew them together, need to be 7¼ inches square.
Okay, so like I said, we were demoing the cutting, but I already cut it, so we're having to go back. But basically, you're going to take those 2 pieces of fabric, sew them together, make a square that's 7¼ inches with the 2. The amount of either fabric is up to you. It could be even, it could be, they don't even have to be exactly straight across. I mean, they can go at an angle. They're just going to combine to make this strip. So, right. So then after you sew the 2 pieces together, you're going to press it to the darker, whichever way you want, and then you're going to take and cut this into 4 strips, perpendicular to the seam line that you have in there. And I did not use a ruler, I just free cut them. They don't have to be exactly even, just make them roughly 1/4 of the width. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact.
And then we're going to need another piece of fabric 2 that is for the center, and that's 3 inches by 3 inches. As you can see, she's making different fabrics. They don't match in the 1, 2, 3, 4 numbering system here. 1 is a different fabric.
Yeah, I'm using my focus in a different place.
And then we have a fabric 3, which is the center strips, which is these strips here.
And one way you should remember the width, it's going to be the same width as this center square, because you're going to make a long strip at in a few minutes with two of those.
Those will be 4 of those that are 3 inches by 8 inches.
And then
we have a fabric 4, which is we're calling the other strip, which is this strip here.
Which it's a gray in this one. I'm going to be using green.
And we need 4 of those that are 2 inches by 6.5 inches.
Okay, so then once you've got all that cutting done, then we're going to start assembling the block. And the first instruction you have involves these triangles. So like I said, you have alongside the hypotenuse, the outer edge of your 7-inch square. We aren't going to sew on that edge. You're going to be sewing against these 2 shorter edges. And whether you put fabric 4 in this first step against this side or that side, it doesn't matter. Just on all 4 of these triangles, put it on the same side. Okay, just make them so they look the same.
Right.
So Shelley has one where she has
I've
done
sewn
that.
mine on that side.
Okay, so we're going to go away. We're going to have you sew 4 of those strips onto one of the short edges of the same short edge of your 4 triangles, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we have sewn our 4 pieces to the first side of the triangle, and now we are going to take the pieces that were from your 7¼ inch square that we assumed you've already made and cut into 4 strips. And that's going to go on the other edge. The way to remember which fabric goes down, at the bottom piece of fabric on that strip should be the same as what your triangle is.
Right.
So because you can't really tell by which one's bigger, but see, these 2, they're the same. Here they're going to be the same. Okay, so we want you to do that step, sew that onto the 4 triangles. And then the other step we want you to do right now is to make this center strip. Okay, and to do that, you're going to take your center square, 3-inch square, and to either side of it, you're going to sew one of your 8 by 3 inch strips to 2 of the opposite sides, like this. I think that's clear right there. Right. Press it to the darker fabric. Right. Okay, so we're not going to tell you what to do with this yet, just sew that. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. We're progressing very well here. Yes. Okay, so, all right, so here's what you should have, 4 of these. And your next step is you're going to add one of, so you made your center strip using 2 of your 8-inch pieces. So you should have 2 left. And you're going to take 2 of your triangles, and you're basically going to sew it in the middle between 2 of the triangles. Like, voila, like this. So you have triangle, triangle, center strip. And you're going to do that to all 4 of your triangles. So you end up with basically the 2 halves of your block. You're going to have this, and we've made this center strip already. I did mean to mention that these triangle edges are very easy to sew on because you're sewing on a 90-degree angle. So if you lay your strip of fabric and you go, oh, how do I line this up with this triangle? You're on the wrong edge because it should just be like laying it on there just like a normal strip of fabric against one. If it has a funky triangle corner, then you're sewing on the wrong corner.
That's
Would that be?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds right.
I
can't think of anything else that's a potential problem. This is pretty easy, really.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, when these come together, things are a little oversized here. So you're going to have room to move things around. But I think we're doing good. So basically, we just want you to make those 2 triangles. And then we'll come back, and we have one more step before the final. We're back. Last step. Well, technically, there's 2 steps. But, so you should have your 2 pieces that look the same. either side of the center, and you've already made your center strip. So now we want you to sew this center strip, match the center block to these, and sew from there. And then
We get to square it up.
square it up and we're done.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna go and do that.
Okay.
All right, we are back, and I have finished my block.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I
didn't square hers up. So we just wanted to show you how the blocks look at the end. This is Shelly's not squared up, mine squared up. There's
Plenty.
plenty of extra. And you can see, I'm gonna block Shelly's for a second, but see the difference by doing it with different fabric choices where you place stuff. And
Yeah.
that's about it. We sure hope that you are joining us for the round robin too.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I will say on the square up, it's your decision, how even symmetrical you want to make this. There's plenty. To be honest, I don't think this one was, when I'm looking at it, it doesn't look super symmetrical. This one I did pretty symmetrical.
Okay.
And we will see you back here in April for our next block of the month.